How's everyone doing today?
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Wesley United Methodist Church. My name is Vanessa Hatakeyama. I'm the Executive Director of the Japanese American Museum of San Jose.
And my name is Leianne Lamb, and I'm Board Chair of Contemporary Asian Theater Scene, otherwise known as... Thank you. Yes. Today is a really special day because you're here and because it marks the fifth year of actually the culmination of this wonderful play to come to fruition and to the stage through the beauty of you and the band and our three groups that have brought this together, Wesley, Cats, and JAMsj.
Yes, and I think today it's really a testament of the role of community in our Japantown neighborhood. So this year marks the 135th year of San Jose Japantown. Yes. And it's also the final day of AAPI Heritage Month. And so what better way to celebrate it than with something that really combines art, history, and culture. And so we are so excited to share this with you today, and we don't want to hold up the band. I know they're anxious to play. So on behalf of Cats, on behalf of Wesley, and on behalf of JAMsj, we welcome you to the world premiere of Japantown Returnings. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
2017 looking back on 1890 to 1942. Lights come up on the exterior of Roy's Station Coffee and Teas, a former gas station at 5th and Jackson in the heart of San Jose's Japantown. Moss and Kiyomi and their daughter Lily enter with their friend Howard. They sit at a table together.
Hey, Howard, it's your turn to get the coffee. Make mine black.
I've known you my whole life, boss, and we meet here every week. You'd think I'd know how you take your coffee. Besides, I covered it last time. It's your turn to pay.
I don't think so. But I need my coffee, so would you just get this one time? I'll pay you back. I'm good for it.
You and your faulty memory. All right, I'll get the damn coffee. Monku, monku, monku.
Uncle
Monku,
Howard,
huh?
language, please.
This used to be a service station, Lily, so it's okay to swear, my dear. It's in the Constitution.
Whose constitution, huh?
So, how's that new great-granddaughter of yours, Uncle Howard? Do you have any pictures?
I've got them right here. If I can just figure out this darn smartphone, this gizmo's going to be the death of me.
I just take my phone to that nice young man down at Walgreens and he prints the pictures for me. Then I put them on my refrigerator the way God intended.
Here we go.
Oh, isn't she kawaii? Just 6 weeks old? Can I swipe to the right? Oh, that's it. Oh, those cheeks.
Now, Moss, is today the day your granddaughter was coming to record that thing, whatever it was, God Blast or something like that?
Yeah, that's today, and it's podcast. She's making a podcast about the old days of Japantown.
What the devil is a podcast anyway, Moss? Is that some new lightweight fly rod? I didn't think your granddaughter knew anything about fishing.
She can actually fish circles around you, brother.
What?
Because I taught her everything she knows. But that's not what a podcast is.
It's a voice recording. She interviews us old timers and then she'll put it on the internet for people to listen.
All the kids are listening to these podcasts now. Heck, I even listen to them.
Oh, like the new the stuff the new girl at the UI Kai Community Center was showing us at the Tuesday computer class.
Oh my, I'm not so good at the computer.
This podcast thing, so it's a bit like an old-time radio show? Oh, remember Edward R. Murrow?
I remember him, but mostly listening to The Shadow. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Oh, I miss those days.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Mama.
Oh, hi, sweetheart.
Hey, Bachan. Thanks for doing this.
Bachan, I'm the one who said yes to this podcast thingamajig.
Yes, Ji-chan, you said yes, too. Okay, let me just get a set up here.
Lori quickly sets up recorder and microphones.
Okay, I'm plugged in and ready to go.
That was quick. Lori-chan, what do you want us to say?
Well, Bachan, I want to hear stories about the early days of Japantown, stuff your parents and grandparents told you, and then I want to hear your stories, too.
Our stories? Are you sure about that?
Gee, John, you were part of a pretty important time in history. People want to hear this stuff. Plus, it might be my big break into the world of podcasting.
There's a world of podcasting? Wow.
Yes, Bachan, there is.
Lori starts the recording.
Okay, we're recording. Let's focus first on the days before the war, before the camps, back when Japantown was just getting started. And I'll get to the other stuff later.
Well, let me see. Going way back, even before there was a Japantown, there was Heinleinville. San Jose had several Chinatowns, but they each burned up in mysterious fires.
Then a kind man named John Heinlein opened up his property between 6th and 7th Streets, Taylor and Jackson, as a new home for the Chinese immigrants to live and establish their business.
Decades before, it was the parking lot with the farmer's market. And even before it was a city corporation yard, it was San Jose's Chinatown.
Oh.
Welcome to Heinleinville, a place of refuge.
And now it's one of those high-rise condo places.
Wow, that's a lot of changes.
But now there's also Heinleinville Park, right in the middle of those high-rises, that celebrates the memory of those days.
Coffee for Howard. Howard, your coffee is ready. Howard retrieves 2 coffees.
Okay, now we've got the coffee. Where were we? Chinatown, I think?
Okay. Let me see. Cleveland Street. That was the main drag down the middle of Heinleinville. Chinese shops and restaurants were allowed to prosper there.
When it came time for the early Japanese immigrant workers to settle, they really had no choice but to go to where all the other Asians were. So, Japantown started to grow here, just west of Heinleinville, Chinatown.
In the 20s and 30s, the Filipinos were living here too, right along 6th Street.
My father, Katsuo, came from Japan as a laborer, like many Nihonjin. He worked on farms here in Santa Clara Valley.
Back then, it was mostly orchards and farms. They called it the Valley of the Heart's Delight.
My grandfather, Jiro, and his brothers came to the U.S. about then, too. They worked in nurseries during the week and then did gardening for people on the weekends. Wow. For them, the work never stopped.
Come on, men, let's get this pruning done. Daylight's fading.
There were lots of Japanese men and almost no women until the picture brides came.
Mom, you told me how families from Japan would send pictures of their eligible young women dressed in traditional kimonos. Men would in turn send their pictures back and get married by proxy. Then the woman would cross the wide Pacific on a steamship to meet their spouse for the first time.
Gosh, I can't imagine how frightening that must have been.
Getting married is scary enough without the prospect of marrying a perfect stranger.
And some of these strangers were far from perfect.
Regardless, these new Japanese families were not welcome in the Anglo neighborhoods. Overtly and in many other ways, racial discrimination was a powerful force.
Developers and residents made it impossible for non-white families to buy a home in red line neighborhoods.
Mom and Dad, you told me stories of how people said horrible, nasty, racist things to the Japanese immigrants. Sometimes they were afraid that harm might come to their families, right?
The one place people could live in peace was here in Japantown. Our families could settle here without fear.
Many people worked nearby in the fruit packing plants or in the canneries.
Your great uncle Satoshi worked at the Wayne Basket Factory, making wooden baskets for the fresh picked strawberries.
My father Hiroshi and his brothers worked in the fields.
Wow.
Oh yeah, a lot of Japanese businesses thrive here, serving the growing population of immigrants.
My grandmother Reiko faithfully shopped at the Dobashi market every week.
There were friendly Japanese barbers.
And I heard the beauty salons were full of gossip.
And there were dry goods stores. You could get anything you might want without leaving Japantown.
And in the early days, several Chinese restaurants.
Not Japanese restaurants?
No, that came later. But in the old days, when it was a special occasion, even the Japanese families went out for Chinese food. The banquets were really good upstairs at the whatchamacallit?
The one on Jackson? That was Shanghai Restaurant.
Oh, I've seen that sign for Shanghai above the manju shop and Nikkei Traditions.
There was this other place called Ken Ying Lo that dated back to 1800s on Cleveland Street. Later it moved to 6th Street. I ate there as a kid. They had the best egg rolls.
My grandfather Kenta used to talk about their chef, a big guy they called Buta-san. Everyone loved Buta-san. He was a fixture there for many, many years. Wow.
And don't forget Wings here on Jackson.
Moss points towards 4th Street.
That place was around forever. It was the oldest restaurant in San Jose when it closed just a couple years ago.
We had our own theater too. People would go to Okita Hall to listen to music and watch movies from Japan.
Movie tonight at Okita Hall, the best kabuki theater right here. You won't want to miss it.
Sometimes they watched films of Japanese baseball games and even sumo tournaments.
Oh, isn't that where the Ethiopian church is now on 6th Street? I knew that place was old, but wow.
That's right, it's a historical landmark.
Wow.
Just like my friend Howard is a historical landmark.
Baka!
They used to take donations from people to cover expenses. They sent the money down to the front on a string.
Dad, didn't you tell me they sometimes inflated the amount of the donation to shame other people into giving more?
Some things never change.
What do you mean?
Well, how many tickets did you really buy for UI Kai fundraising dinner last year? You told me it was 50.
Yeah, well, it's close to 50, maybe 25. I just wanted you to buy some too.
Okay, Ji-chan, the podcast.
Sorry about that, Lori. Let's see. Just because Japanese weren't allowed to in other hospitals, we built our own, the Kuwabara Hospital.
Like a lot of the finest buildings around here, it was built by the Nishiura brothers. In those days, Japanese doctors had to work under a white doctor because they couldn't get a license to practice in the US.
Both my mother and my father were born at Kuwabara Hospital. It's still standing tall as the Issei Memorial Building just down 5th Street.
My mother was born at the midwives across the street. That house remains there too, next to Wesley Church.
Hey, Howard, didn't your father play baseball years ago?
He was on the Asahi B team that won the California Championship. They played at Asahi Field at 6th and Jackson, right where the Miraido apartments are.
And they had sumo there too. People would come from all over just to see those big old sumo players back in those days.
People gathered to worship in Japantown too. My family was Methodist, and their Japanese Methodist Episcopal Church was built across from the Kuwabara Hospital. After the war, they changed the name to Wesley Methodist Church.
Oh, we go there for the Akimatsuri Fall Festival. They have the best udon and spam musubi.
I go to listen to their jazz band and to their ukulele group.
And to eat the udon and spam musubi.
And my family is still over at Buddhist Church. Our beautiful Hondo was built in 1937 by those same Nishiura brothers. Generations of our families have attended the church, and we all danced at the Obon Festival every July.
You've eaten your share of the tempura and chicken teriyaki, brother.
Oh, don't forget the corn on the cob and the strawberry shortcake.
Oh, I love
San
the
Jose,
shortcake.
Japantown was a haven for our grandparents and parents. While they might have had to go out into the valley to work and interact with the greater population, when they were here, it was comparatively safe.
Yeah, life was good, and we were happy here.
We had everything we needed, and we didn't bother anyone.
But came that horrible day when the nation of Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, right?
December 7th, 1941.
A day that will live in infamy.
And less than 3 months later, President Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066.
We were just kids, but we remember. It still makes me angry.
All the members of our families were rounded up and sent down to the Santa Anita racetrack near Los Angeles. All we could take with us was 2 suitcases. We were crammed onto buses and trains for the long trip there.
Some of my parents' Japanese friends from San Francisco were taken to Tanforan, the racetrack that used to be in San Bruno. The assembly centers were at horse racing tracks up and down the West Coast.
At all these horrible places, we were forced to live in the horse stables at the racetrack while the internment camps were being thrown together out in the middle of nowhere. I can still remember the overpowering smell of horse manure there.
Yeah, most of the San Jose people ended up at Hart Mountain, Wyoming, locked behind barbed wire with guards and towers armed with machine guns, guns that pointed in at all of us. It was very clear we were being held prisoner here in our own country.
With us Japanese gone, the streets of San Jose's Japantown were virtually empty. Some people were able to store their belongings in churches or with some sympathetic neighbors.
Wasn't there a lawyer named Ben Peckham who had held title for families of immigrants until they became citizens? He also stored belongings for many people.
Yeah, but too many people lost their homes and everything they owned.
As we left that dark day, we wondered if we would ever see Japantown again.
Scene 2, 1950. Lori narrating into her podcast microphone.
During the war, Hart Mountain, Wyoming saw 14,000 people pass through its barbed wire gates. 2,572 of them were from Santa Clara County. When the camp closed, they were each given just $25 and a bus ticket home. Many chose to come to San Jose to start their lives again, the churches in Japantown served as dormitories for people to have a place to eat and sleep until they earned enough to get their own place. My grandpa, Mas, was barely a teenager when our family came back to Japantown. When the internees returned, Japantown was once again a bustling hub of the Japanese-American scene. I can just imagine what it must have been like to be a young man in those days.
Outside a dry goods store in Japantown, the streets are full of shoppers.
It's finally Saturday, and I've got the whole day in front of me. Looking good. Watch out, ladies. Here comes Moss. Man about town. Probably should get a trim, though. Hope there's not too much of a wait at Clark's. Or should I go to Jackson Street Barber? There's a new guy over on Taylor. Maybe I should just shoot pool while I'm waiting. I bet some of the guys will be there, too. Then pick up a burger and some fries at the coffee shop on 4th Street. All in all, a pretty good day.
Moss exits. Yuki and Kiyomi enter a dress shop.
Oh, are they really having a dance tonight, Kiyomi? With a band? I haven't been to a dance with a band since we were at camp. And there I was, too really young to really enjoy it.
Yuki points at a nearby mannequin.
Oh, I wish I had a pretty dress like that one to wear tonight.
You already have that really cute lavender number to wear. And you know all about the dance, Yuki. It's all we've talked about for weeks. Do you think all the swell boys from the YBA will be there?
Oh, of course they will. And I hope the boys from the Edgeworth League over at the Methodist Church will be there too. I know you got your eye on someone special.
Not me. I thought it was you who was flirting with that dreamy Moss last week.
That was nothing. We're just friends. Why, I've been teasing him at the 4th Street Pharmacy soda fountain since we were little kids, reading comic books.
Oh, Yuki, you're never gonna guess who I saw going into Clark's barber shop.
Who? Who did you see?
It was Howard. I know you like him.
I do not like Howard. Whatever gave you that idea?
Just last Saturday, you were talking to him in front of Mike and Roy's service station for the longest time. Was he telling you about his judo lessons with Yoshuchita? I heard Howard was going to try out for the team over at San Jose State College.
He was just thanking me for helping out at the tempura booth at Oban last summer. I've been in the serving line, but they might promote me up to cash box this year.
I just know he couldn't take his eyes off you.
Before the dance tonight, should we stop in at Hank's coffee shop and see who's there?
Oh, Yuki. Do you think Howard and Moss will be there?
Segue to the lunch counter at Hank's coffee shop, where Kiyomi and Yuki join up with Moss and Howard.
Moss, I tell you, the best burgers in town come from Hank's coffee shop.
And the fries aren't bad there either. Oh, and the company.
Oh, Moss, if someone were to offer, I'd be glad to share a vanilla Coke.
1 vanilla Coke with 2 straws coming right up, Kiyomi.
Moss offers his arm to Kiyomi.
Kiyomi, you are shameless.
Oh, looking around, this place looks so different from how it used to be.
Yeah. Can you believe it's been 5 years since we came back from camp?
And our folks still won't talk about it. They just keep their feelings bottled in.
Give them time. It's not easy to talk about for any of us.
My mom just says, "Gaman, persevere." And my dad keeps looking down at his stupid newspaper.
Let's talk about something else. Did anybody make it to the Purplettes basketball game this week?
I looked for you, Kiyomi, but I was stuck up in the back of the bleachers. It was a good game, though.
Nothing but zebras for me. We've got a couple of guys I think could give Bob Cousy and the Boston Celtics a run for his money.
Yeah, it would help if they were as tall as George Mikan from the Minneapolis Lakers.
Basketball's all well and good, but I like my sports co-ed.
Co-ed? Howard, whatever do you mean?
I mean, the dance. It's starting now. We should all head to the Buddhist church gym.
Welcome to the YBA dance. Let's get on the floor to the heart-stirring sounds of the Wayne Adachi Orchestra.
I've got sunshine on a cloud. When it's cold outside, I've got the month of May.
1971. Lori narrating into her podcast.
The romances of the 1950s blossomed into the families in the 1960s. But this was a turbulent time for Americans, and the people of San Jose's Japantown were no exception. It was a time of change, of conflict, of cultural assimilation. Some of the businesses in Japantown were forced to close. These Japanese American young men were part of a generation that were now being drafted into the military, and this time they were being shipped off to fight in faraway Vietnam. How did they feel about fighting other Asians? People who looked a lot like them. Hard questions to answer. And too many of these soldiers did not come back. And those that did were scarred in ways we still don't understand. Protests were erupting on the campuses up in Berkeley and at San Francisco State, and even right down the street at San Jose State College. And as the 1970s dawned, activism took root for Asian Americans and the people of Japantown as well. My parents, Jean and Lily, along with their friends Dave and Keiko, were in the thick of it. They shared about their activism one special day in the summer of 1971.
Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go.
What do we want?
Equality!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Equality!
When do we want it?
Now! So, what are we protesting today, Lily? That pointless war in Vietnam? Civil rights for Asians as well as blacks? It's not about those warmongering Dow Chemical guys again, is it?
Didn't you hear the latest, Gene? We're demanding an Asian American Studies program here at San Jose State College. Our people have been ignored for far too long.
Are they asking for a program just like the new one up at San Francisco State?
Not exactly, Keiko. We want a unique program, all our own for the Asian folks here in the South Bay. My friend, Mike Honda, just got back from the Peace Corps, and he's working on it with a bunch of locals.
I am tired of being treated differently because of how we look and who our parents are.
Marchers, grab your signs and let's get lined up.
How about this for a sign? Asian voices, rise up!
That's a good one, Lily. We'll add it to these signs left over from an old AAPA march.
Hey, Dave, remind me what AAPA stands for?
We used to be Asian American Political Association. We're Asians for Community Action now, much more focused on the issues.
As part of our activism, some are working on an organization to take care of our Japanese American older generation. We need to make sure our grandparents are honored and cared for even in the midst of these changing times.
I heard about that. They're thinking of calling it Yuaikai. That's Japanese for friendship and love.
My Japanese isn't very good, but even I knew that.
Funny how even when we protest, we end up finding ways to show respect for our elders.
JA, through and through.
Hey, Gene, did you hear? Our own Norm Mineta from the city council might join us today.
I know Norm. He's a good guy. He goes to our church, and I think my dad used to buy insurance from him.
You know what I heard? Now Norm's going to be running for mayor of San Jose.
A Japanese mayor? In this town? That'll be the day.
Don't laugh. I bet Norm is going to go far in politics.
What's all the fuss about anyway? Why can't we just fit in like everybody else?
What do you mean, Keiko? How are we supposed to all just fit in?
It's hard enough being a Japanese American these days, Dave. My folks say we should just let it alone, not make a bother. You know the old saying, the nail that sticks up gets pounded down.
What? And just be the model minority, all polite and accepting? That was for our parents and our grandparents' generations. We're not going to take it anymore.
I'm sorry that you feel that way, Keiko. I'm proud to be Japanese, to be an Asian American. Other groups are standing up for themselves. Why not us? We certainly get put down and discriminated against just for being Asian.
And what about the camps? Our parents and grandparents were locked up for just being Japanese. They don't talk about it, but that was a total violation of their civil rights.
And it was never addressed. People in power think that they could just ignore people like us.
But that was a long time ago. What can anyone do about it now?
There's talk about reparations and maybe getting an official apology, but that's going to take a lot of work.
Lily, we need more than talk. No one's going to look out for the JAs. We have to stand up for ourselves. It's time to join the movement.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Oh, look up at its stage. The group Yokohama, California is coming up. I heard that they were going to play some of their songs at this rally.
Their guitar player, Peter Horikoshi, writes the best songs. And Sam Takimoto, too. Their lyrics really speak to me.
That's true. But that new guy, Keith something, he's pretty cute. And has he got a good voice? And his guitar.
Hey, we're here to rally for a cause, not scope the boys.
Oh, come on.
Is anybody home? I thought somebody lived here. Once upon a time, there were people in this place, but that was long ago, and now you'll never know that they were even here, and memories are unclear. Today.
You gotta love Yokohama, California. Music help us tell our stories.
You know, later on, my friends Roy and PJ are getting together to practice their taiko drumming. Anybody want to come?
Is that the group that Reverend Abiku helped start with the YBA at the Buddhist church?
That's it. Taiko's the best.
We got the music, the taiko, the culture, the movement. I'm proud to be a JAMB from San Jose, J-Town.
Here comes the best part of the Tanforan song.
Tanforan, Tanforan, is anybody home? Well, it's been such a long time since I've called you home. Tanforan, Tanforan, is anybody home? Well, it's been such a long time past, and now you're calling me home. Went to Tanforan yesterday, horses on the run, seeing people that I know, betting all for fun. But I know another Tanforan they will never see. Early in 1942, it was all for me. Anybody home? Is anybody there? Or is it just that nobody cares? Is anybody home? Is anybody there? Sometimes I wonder where we're going.
Tanforan, where do you belong? Lost somewhere in America. Where did she go wrong? Tanforan, Tanforan, while trying to see behind you, deeply buried within our past. Will we ever find you? Is anybody home? Is anybody there? Or is it just that nobody cares? Is anybody home? Is anybody there? Sometimes I wonder where we're going. turn to raise. Lay that money down. Are you scared to lose your place? Is there something that you can't face? Is anybody home? Is anybody there? Or is it just that nobody cares? Is anybody home? Is anybody there? Sometimes I wonder where we're going. Once upon a time, there were people in this
Scene 4, 1988. Lori narrating into her podcast.
In the 1970s and 80s, my parents, Jean and Lily, were caught up in the movement. The activism in Japantown led to forming groups like the Senior Center, Uikai, Friendship and Love in Japanese, the cultural drumming group, San Jose Taiko, Nihonmachi Outreach Committee, and the Asian Law Alliance. One of the key issues was reparations for the people in the camps. There were testimonies, rallies, congressional hearings, and more. The intense fight for redress for our people continued until one day,
Jean and Lily run into Howard while shopping at Dobashi Market.
Hey, Uncle Howard, what brings you to Dobashi Market today?
Just picking up the Mercury News. Got to know what's going on in the world.
There it is, Lily, on the front page of the San Jose paper. I thought it might be there today.
President Ronald Reagan signing the Civil Liberties Act of 1988, granting reparations to the Japanese Americans who had held interned by the government during World War II.
Keiko joins the group holding her shopping basket.
Let me see that. There's our Congressman Norman Etta standing next to the president all the way in Washington, D.C. All that lobbying we did finally paid off.
Hey, Uncle Howard, did you know Norman co-sponsored the bill with his childhood friend Alan Simpson? The senator from Wyoming? Of course you knew that. You were there in Washington testifying before the Congressional Committee.
I did my part. So did a lot of people.
I love the story of how Norm and Alan met as kids at Boy Scout Jamboree. That was while Norm was interned at Hart Mountain near Cody, Wyoming. It's true. Norm and Alan were tent mates.
Just look at them now. A Democrat and a Republican, but still lifelong friends.
Howard reading from the newspaper.
The act declares a grave injustice was done to citizens and permanent resident aliens of Japanese ancestry by the evacuation, relocation, and internment of civilians during World War II.
Lily takes the paper and continues reading.
These actions were without security reasons and without any acts of espionage or sabotage documented by the Commission on Wartime Relocation and Internment of Civilians, and were motivated by racial prejudice, wartime hysteria, and a failure of political leadership.
Jean continues reading.
The excluded individuals suffered enormous damages for which appropriate compensation has not been made, and the Congress apologizes on behalf of the nation.
This was a long time coming. Too many have already died waiting for this day.
It's a happy day, but a sad one as well. I mean, does a small check and an apology make up for the years of our lives that were taken away?
At least it's something. I know the apology means a lot to my grandparents and my parents too.
It means a lot to me. I wish your Auntie Yuki were still around to see this.
We all do. I miss her a lot.
She really loved coming to Obon, especially the dancing.
Speaking of Obon, are you guys working at the chicken teriyaki booth again this year?
Wouldn't miss it. Have you been going to the dance practices?
Like I need practice, soran, soran. I've been doing those steps since I was a kid.
Yeah, doing them wrong though.
Speak for yourself, Lily.
I like to go to the practices to see my friends again and get into the festival spirit.
Lily and I'll be there to help as soon as we drop off Chibi, Lori, and Lotus at the Lotus preschool.
Oh, she was so kawaii when they performed at the Nikkei Matsuri Festival. I have to give you reprints of the pictures I took.
Oh, thanks. That would be wonderful. We're so proud of her.
And my brilliant grandson, Kevin, is playing with the junior taiko for their performance Saturday night.
Hey, Uncle Howard, no bragging about Kevin, even if he's pretty good. We have to keep him humble.
Here we go with the keeping him humble stuff again, huh?
He's my grandson, so I can brag about him all I want.
Taiko's come a long way since the early days when Roy and PJ were just starting out. They've hit the big time with tours, concerts, and international performances.
But they remember their roots and come back to play here in Japantown, where it all got started.
I'm glad the younger generation is getting into Japanese culture, coming back to dance no bon, getting involved down here in J-Town.
So many of us have moved to the suburbs, but we still come back here for church and for festivals, plus the shopping and restaurants, of course.
Hey, Jean, how's it going for you over at Apple? I heard you were a big-time engineer now.
My job is going fine, so just so that you know, no big deal.
Okay. You know, it's funny. Our dad spent the fall picking apples in Watsonville and Salinas, and now our generation is making apples too. Apple computers.
I haven't been down to Japantown in months. Feels so good to be back. In some ways, it hasn't changed.
Really? I barely recognize a lot of the stores here. So many are new.
Where's Hank's coffee shop and the 4th Street Pharmacy? What about the old barber shops?
At least some stores are still here. Santo Market, Kogura, Shiseido, Dobashi's, Mike and Roy Station, and Nichibei Busan.
There's a lot of history to preserve so our story won't be forgotten. We don't want to be erased like so many other Japantowns.
That's why that group of historical researchers started the Japanese American Resource Center upstairs in the Issei Memorial Building.
They're gathering historical materials and artifacts to celebrate what people have been through here. Hopefully it will be a full-fledged museum someday.
That would be awesome. Maybe I could become a docent there.
I can hear the music starting. We better get lined up for open dancing.
Let's hope some things never change. Things like this.
That's good. I like that flavor. Good.
Scene 5, 2017. People carry candles as a part of the Day of Remembrance Vigil, walking the streets of Japantown. Lori narrating into her podcast.
Every February, my parents and grandparents took me to the annual Day of Remembrance. It holds a special place in my heart. The Nihonmachi Outreach Committee marks the anniversary of the signing of Executive Order 9066 by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1942, which put more than 120,000 people of Japanese descent into internment camps. The event takes place at the Buddhist Church Annex and includes a somber candlelight march through the streets of Japantown. We wrap up our podcast by looking back at this Day of Remembrance from February 2017.
Coming together like this is important. Day of Remembrance is the biggest day of the year for me.
We need to remind each other of the past, how people of Japanese ancestry suffered discrimination and were sent to the camps, the injustice of that.
And how despite that, many, many young men volunteered to serve our country and became part of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, the most decorated combat unit in U.S. history for its size.
Do you remember their motto? Go for broke.
Go for broke!
Others were part of the 100th Infantry Battalion and the Military Intelligence Service.
It's time to hold up your candles and start the procession through Japantown. Let's follow the traditional banners and listen to the sounds of the taiko drums.
In remembering the injustices we faced, the Japanese American community rose up together and said, never again.
Never again.
And when we see it happening to others, we say this year's theme, we stand up to hate.
Our Muslim brothers and sisters were persecuted after 9/11, and our community stood with them then.
Now, our Muslim neighbors are threatened by the president's travel ban. We are compelled to stand up to hate.
Stand up to hate! Refugees from Latin America and Mexico are being detained. Children are being locked in cages. Stand up to hate.
Stand up to hate.
Our black neighbors are being killed by the police in record numbers. Communities of color are being hit by poverty and disease. Stand up to hate.
Stand up to hate.
Walking the streets of Japantown reminds me of all the history here. We were forced to gather here because of racial discrimination.
But we chose to stay for community.
Stores opened because it was the only place Japanese people were allowed to shop.
Now, people of many colors come from all over the Bay Area just to shop in our stores, eat in our restaurants, and worship in our churches.
In that spirit of inclusion, the shops and restaurants here represent many cultures too.
We can share our heritage, our culture, our hospitality, and this whole valley and beyond.
There is a deep history here. There is a vibrant present teeming around us, and there is a bright future here. As long as we remember who we are and why we are here.
Here's to J-Town.
To J-Town. Here's to San Jose's Japantown.
To our Japantown.
J-Town, sweeping the streets of my J-Town, friends I meet in my J-Town, life so sweet. In my J-Town, dance to the beat of my J-Town, leaping the streets of my J-Town, the friends I meet in my J-Town, life so sweet. In my J-Town.
Akimatsuri, ramen, sushi, shabu, and kare. Ukulele gently strumming now. See you later at the Huki Lao. Taylor, Jackson, where life is happening. Share the joys of coffee at Roy's. History's treasures where we can all see them. Explore the past, at our own museum.
History's deep in Japantown, the people did weep. In Japantown, the price of war is steep. In Japantown, promises keep. In Japantown,
Bells are calling, people come and pray. Congregations celebrate the day. Methodist, Buddhist, Ethiopian, Church of God in Christ, time for us to go again.
fathers, mothers live in J-Town, sisters and brothers share my J-Town. Welcome to the other here in J-Town, love with another in my J-Town.
Some ink or a flat brim hat, vintage consignments are where it's at. Mochi, shaved ice, rhythm and blues, celebrate J-Town is what we're gonna do.
Feel the beat of my J-Town, sweeping the streets of my J-Town. Friends I meet in my J-Town, life so sweet in my J-Town. People did weep in Japantown, the price of war is cheap. In Japantown, promises keep. In Japantown, dance to the beat of my J-Town, leaping in the streets of my J-Town. And friends that I meet in my J-Town, life so sweet in my J-Town.
My name's Mark Teagle, and I'm the playwright for this production. And just a few thank yous as we complete this performance. As we said at the beginning of the show, this is all about storytelling, telling the story of Japantown. Here at Wesley Church, where I work, we tell a special story about faith and love in a special context, which is Japantown. Across the street at the museum, they tell this collective story of this neighborhood. And Cats is dedicated to theater that tells stories of this special community. When the story of this show is told, we will remember all the people who made it come to life. And it's my job to say thank you to them. To our production partners, to Wesley Church, especially Reverend John Oda, who's sitting right there. To Cats Theater, especially Leianne Lamb and Caroline Moore. To the Japanese American Museum of San Jose, especially Vanessa Hatakeyama and Jim Nagaretta for curating all the wonderful photos. And also to Reiko Iwanaga, who taught, or well, just showed us how to do that dance the other night, and they did a great job on. We were able to do this because of the generosity of the Silicon Valley Community Foundation, which fronted the money for this production. So we're thankful to them. To our amazing cast, to Steve, Nick, Mike, Dana, Ann, and Georgia. To Amelia Rodriguez, our stage manager who shepherded this production through this intense week. To our director, Tasi Alabastro, his heartfelt and insightful direction and friendship. Yay, Tasi. But a special thank you to this guy right here hiding behind his trombone. So this whole thing was the brainchild of Wayne Adachi, who said we should do a show about the history of Japantown, and oh, by the way, there should be music. And there was music. It was awesome. So, but it's hard to tell 135 years of story. He also said, make it under an hour. So we did that. And so we've been working on this for more than 5 years and all of that, but I just, this would not have happened without you, Wayne, so thank you. And finally, I want to, yes. Finally, I want to say thank you to all of you, because we walk amongst legends, the people of San Jose, Japantown, and you all have made this a story worth telling. And this is a community worth celebrating, and our hope is that this play did that just a little bit. So thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you on the streets of Japantown.